I am reading on a site called mappingpoliceviolence.org/unarmed. I wanted to know how many people were killed, how many unarmed black people were killed by police last year, 2015. There were 102. Keith Childress, 12/31/15. Las Vegas, Nevada. No officers were charged for a crime in killing Keith. Bettie Jones, 12/25/15, Chicago, Illinois. No officers have been charged with the crime for killing Betty. Keith Matthews, 12/23/15, in Dearborn, Michigan. No officers have been charged with a crime for killing Kevin. Leroy Browning, 12/20/15, Palmdale, California. No officers have been charged with a crime for killing Leroy. Roy Nelson, 12/19/15, Hayward, California. No officers have been charged with the crime for killing Roy. Miguel Espinal, 12/8/15, Yonkers, New York. No officers are charged with the crime for killing Miguel. Nathaniel Pickett, 11/19/15. No officers are charged with the crime for killing Nathaniel. Tiara Thomas, 11/18/15. No officers were charged with the crime of killing Tiara. Cornelius Brown, 11/18/15. No officers were charged for killing Cornelius. Chandra Weaver, 11/17/15. No officers were charged with killing Chandra. Jamar Clark, 11/15/15, Minneapolis, Minnesota. No officers were charged with killing Jamar. Richard Perkins, 11/15/15, Oakland, California. No officers were charged with killing Richard. Stephen Tucson, 11/12/15. No officers were charged with killing Stephen. Michael Lee Marshall, 11/11/15. No officers were charged for killing Michael. Alonzo Smith, 11/1/15, Washington, D.C. No officers were charged with killing Alonzo. Yvens Seide, 10/31/15. No officers were charged with killing Yvens. Anthony Ashford, 10/27/15. In San Diego, California, no officers were charged with killing Anthony. Lamontez Jones, 10/20/15. In San Diego, California, no officers were charged with killing Lamonte. Rayshaun Cole, 10/17/15. In Chula Vista, California, no officers were charged with killing Rayshaun. Paterson Brown, 10/17/15. No officers have been charged with killing Paterson. Christopher Kimball, 10/3/15. No officers were charged with killing Christopher. Junior Prosper, 9/28/15. In North Miami, Florida. No officers were charged with killing Junior. Keith McLeod, 9/23/15. Reisterstown, Maryland. Reisterstown, whatever the hell that town is called. No officers have been charged with killing Keith. Wayne Wheeler, 9/7/15, Lathrop, Michigan. No officers have been charged with killing Wayne. India Kager, 9/5/15, Virginia Beach, Virginia. No officers have been charged with killing India. Tyree Crawford, 9/1/15, Newark, New Jersey. No officers have been charged with killing Tyree. James Carney III, 8/31/15, Cincinnati, Ohio. No officers were charged with killing James. Felix Kumi, 8/28/15, New York, New York. No officers were charged with killing Felix. Wendell Hall, 8/27/15, Kansas City, Kansas. No officers were charged with killing Wendell. Asshams Manley, 8/14/15, Spalding, Maryland. No officers were charged with killing Asshams. Christian Taylor, 8/7/15, Arlington, Texas. No officers were charged with killing Christian. Troy Robinson, 8/6/15, Decatur, Georgia. No officers have been charged with killing Troy. Brian Day, 7/25/15, Las Vegas, Nevada. No officers were charged with killing Brian. Michael Sabi, I apologize if I get these names wrong because this is the first time I saw them. Michael Sabi, 7/22/15, Texarkana, Texas. No officers were charged in killing Michael. Billy Ray Davis, 7/20/15, Houston, Texas. No officers were charged with killing Billy Ray. Samuel Dubose, 7/19/15, Cincinnati, Ohio. No officers were charged with killing Samuel. Darrius Stewart, 7/17/15, Memphis, Tennessee. No officers were charged with killing Darrius. Albert Davis, 7/17/15, Orlando, Florida. No officers were charged with killing Albert. Sandra Bland, 7/13/15. No officers were charged. A trooper, Brian Encina, was charged with perjury for lying about the events leading up to Sandra's arrest, but no officers have been charged with actually killing her. Salvado Ellswood, Plantation, Florida. No officers have been in 7/12/15. No officers have been charged with the crime for killing Salvado. George Mann, 7/11/15, Stonewall, Georgia. No officers have been charged with the crime for killing George. Johnathan Sanders, 7/8/15, Stonewall, Mississippi. No officers were charged with killing Johnathan. Victor Larosa III, 7/12/15. No officers were charged in Jacksonville, Florida, with killing Victor. Kevin Judson, 7/1/15, McMinnville, Oregon. No officers were charged with killing Kevin. Spencer McCain, 6/25/15, Owings Hills, Maryland. No officers were charged with killing Spencer. Kevin Bajoy, 6/20/15, Baton Rouge, Louisiana. No officers were charged with killing Kevin. Samuel Crawford, 6/20/15, McAlla, Alabama. No officers have been charged with the crime for killing Samuel. Jermaine Benjamin, 6/16/15, Vero Beach, Florida. No officers have been charged with the crime for killing Jermaine. Kris Jackson, 6/15/15, South Lake Tahoe, California. No officers have been charged with killing Kris. Alan Craig Williams, 6/13/15, Greenville, South Carolina. No officers have been charged with killing Alan. No, Ross Anthony, 6/9/15, Dallas, Texas. No officers have been charged with the crime for killing Ross. Richard Gregory Davis, 5/31/15, Rochester, New York. No officers have been charged with the crime for killing Richard. Markus Clark, 5/21/15, Fort Lauderdale, Florida. No officers have been charged with the crime for killing Marcus. Lorenzo Hayws, 5/13/15, Spokane, Washington. No officers have been charged with the crime for killing Lorenzo. D'Angelo Stallworth, 5/12/15, Jacksonville, Florida. No officers have been charged with the crime for killing D'Angelo. DeJuan Graham, 5/12/15, Silver Spring, Maryland. No officers have been charged with the crime for killing DeJuan. 57. I'm at 57. I'm just over halfway with the list. Los Angeles, California. Brandon Glenn, 5/6/15. No officers have been charged with crime for killing Brandon. Reginald Moore, 5/6/15, Greenville, Mississippi. Sergeant Kivana Moore was charged with murder for killing Reginald. That was number 58. That was the first charge of murder. Nuwnah Laroche, 5/6/15, Ridgefield Park, New Jersey. No officers have been charged with the crime for killing Nuwnah. Jason Chapman, 5/6/15, Ridgefield Park, New Jersey. No officers have been charged with the crime for killing Jason. Ryan Overstreet, 4/28/15, Sylvester, Georgia. No officers have been charged with the crime for killing Brian. Terrence Kellum, 4/27/15, Detroit, Michigan. No charges have been charged with the crime for killing Terrence. New York, New York. David Felix, 4/25/15. No officers have been charged with the crime for killing David. LaShonda Ruth Belk, 4/24/15, West End, North Carolina. No officers have been charged with the crime for killing LaShonda. Gregory DeQuan Harris, 4/24/15, West End, North Carolina. No one's been charged with the crime for killing Gregory. Terry Lee Chapman, 4/23/15, Houston, Texas. No officers have been charged with the crime for killing Terry. William Chapman, 4/22/15, Portsmouth, Virginia. No officers have been charged. Officer Stephen Rankin was charged with murder for killing William. That's 2 officers charged in 67. Samuel Harrell, 4/21/15, Beacon, New York. No officers have been charged with killing Samuel. 69. Freddie Gray, 4/19/15, Baltimore, Maryland. No officers. 6 officers have been charged with crimes including murder for killing Freddie, and nobody has been convicted yet. Norman Cooper, 4/19/15, San Antonio, Texas. No officers have been charged with killing Norman. Ryan Acton, 4/18/15, Columbia, Tennessee. No officers have been charged with killing Brian. Daryl Brown, 4/17/15, Hagerstown, Maryland. No officers have been charged with the crime for killing Daryl. Frank Shepard III, 4/15/15, Houston, Texas. No officers have been charged with the crime for killing Frank. Walter Scott, North Charleston, South Carolina. Officer Michael Slager was charged for murdering Walter Scott, but he was only charged because there was a video of him shooting Walter Scott as he was running away and then planting something on him. Only the video kept that man from being free. Donald Dante Ivy, 4/2/15, Albany, New York. No officers have been charged with the crime for killing Donald. Eric Harris, 4/2/15, Tulsa, Oklahoma. Deputy Bates was charged. Deputy, that's his name. There's Deputy. Ooh, they didn't even give his first name. It's just Deputy Bates was charged and convicted of manslaughter for killing Eric. I gotta read this one. Harris fled an arrest after he sold a gun to undercover officers working a sting operation. He was caught by officers and shot by a 73-year-old part-time reserve deputy who said he intended to use a taser instead of that gun. Harris told officers, "I'm losing my breath," to which one replied, "Fuck your breath." That's the last thing Eric Harris heard before he died in the hands of police. Philip White, 3/31/15, Vineland, New Jersey. No officers have been charged with the crime for killing Philip. 78. Dominic Wise, 3/13/15, Culpeper, Virginia. No officers have been charged with the crime for killing Dominic. Jason Milland, 3/29/15. No officers have been charged. Ed Saris, California. No officers have been charged with the crime for killing Jason. 80. I'm at 80. Thomas Nicholas, 3/24/15, Atlanta, Georgia. No officers have been charged with the crime for killing Nicholas. Denzel Brown, 3/22/15, Bayshore, New York. No officers have been charged with the crime for killing Denzel. 82. Brandon Jones, 3/19/15, Cleveland, Ohio. No officers have been charged with the crime of killing Brandon. Ascari Roberts, 3/17/15, Rome, Georgia. No officers have been charged with the crime for killing Ascari. Terrence Moxley, 3/10/15. No officers have been charged with the crime for killing Terrence in Mansfield, Ohio. Anthony Hill, 3/9/15, Chamblee, Georgia. No officer. Officer Robert Olson was charged with murder for killing Anthony. Bernard Moore, 3/6/15, Atlanta, Georgia. The officer was charged with misdemeanor vehicular homicide. They don't give the officer's name, and that's bullshit. Nayshilas Venzant, 3/6/15, Aurora, Colorado. No officers have been charged with the crime for killing Nayshilas. Tony Robinson, 3/6/15, Madison, Wisconsin. No officers have been charged with the crime for killing Tony. Charlie, Africa, Q9, Los Angeles, California. No officers on 3/1/15. No officers have been charged with the crime for killing Africa. Daryl Gatewood, 3/1/15, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. No officers have been charged with the crime for killing Daryl. DeAndre Dorsey, 3/1/15, White Plains, New York. No officers have been charged with the crime for killing Deontay. Thomas Allen Jr., 2/28/15, Wellston, Missouri. No officers have been charged with the crime for killing Thomas. Calvin Reed, 2/22/15. No officers have been charged with the crime for killing Calvin. Terry Price, 2/20/15. No officers in Tulsa, Oklahoma. No officers have been charged with the crime for killing Terry. Natasha McKenna, 2/8/15, Fairfax, Virginia. No officers have been charged with the crime for killing Natasha. Jeremy Lett, 2/4/15, Tallahassee, Florida. No officers have been charged with the crime for killing Jeremy. Alvin Hayes, 1/26/15, San Bruno, California. No officers have been charged with the crime for killing Alvin. Tiano Metten, 1/22/15, Sierra Blanca, Texas. No officers have been charged with the crime for killing Tiano. Andre Lerone Murphy Sr., 1715. No officers have been charged with the crime for killing DeAndre. 100. Brian Pickett, 1615. Los Angeles, California. No officers have been charged with the crime for killing Brian. Leslie Sapp, 1615. Marshals went to serve a warrant on Leslie. They shot and killed Leslie, claiming he pointed a toy gun at them. No officers have been charged with the crime for killing Leslie. Number 102. Matthew Ajibade, 1115. Deputy Kenny was convicted of cruelty to an inmate, and Deputy Evans was convicted of public records fraud and 3 counts of perjury for killing Matthew. Deputy Kenny was sentenced to 1 year in jail and to be served only on weekends, and 3 years probation, while Deputy Evans was sentenced to 6 years probation, and Matthew Ajibade was sentenced to life. That was 102. 102 black people killed by police in the year 2015. I make no opinions. I make no other comments. Draw the decision for yourself.